Welcome to Mission Unstoppable. I am so glad to see you today. Today I have a double header, and not usual for me, but I hope that you will stay tuned with me this morning and a little bit later this afternoon. That would be awesome. Prior to writing full-time, my guest, Peter Jennings. Peter, hold up your hand. He has spent his career in corporate communications, running agencies, handling marketing, advertising, branding, public relations, and production of multimedia content, including videos, websites, and social media elements. He also hosted his own local TV show. But today, aside from public speaking, Peter can be found on stage singing from the American Standard Songbook, and to date has written 6 books, including the one we're going to chat about today, Until I Smile at You, a book that contains the life story of Ruth Lowe, Canadian songwriter who literally launched the career of Frank Sinatra, and the one that we co-wrote together for Want of 40 Pounds. Joining us also is Tom Sandler. Now, he is a famed Canadian photographer. He's been the official photographer for Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth's 3 visits, official photographer for the Prince's Charity Canada, the royal visits of the Earl of Wessex, and the official photographer for Toronto Star City Nights and the Harbourfront and everything else.
And all around swell guy.
Today, he joins us in the capacity of Ruth Lowe's son. Wow, so welcome. Welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yeah. You know, Peter, I think that I have to believe that writing this book was a dream come true for you, especially with your background and the love of the American Standard Songbook that you have. And I know that you mentioned to me about Ruth and wanting to write her story, but I'm going to ask Tom just to start this off, because I know that it was not allowed to be written before. So how did this gentleman right here get to write your mom's story?
Hang on for sorry, I've got a little bit of a. Can you hear me okay? The audio?
No, your audio's very off at the moment.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry.
There you go.
There you go.
No, we got you.
We're good.
We're good.
Yep.
Unmute. Okay, how's that?
Excellent.
Yeah, gotcha.
You can hear me?
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, because I'm having trouble hearing you now for some
Oh,
reason.
no. I'll try to speak up. You can turn your volume up.
Yeah, I'm going to try that. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to flip the phone for a second.
Yeah,
and,
no worries.
Frankie, I can tell the story while Tommy.
Sure.
Basically, I was putting together a fundraiser in the small town that I lived in for a local healthcare organization. And this was back in 2015, which was the 100th anniversary of the birth of Frank Sinatra. So I decided to use that as the theme. And basically got a lot of singers and instrumentalists, etc., to donate their time. We had a capacity crowd of 500 people. But as I was putting it together, a friend of mine said, "Oh, you should get Tom Sandler involved." I said, "Who the heck is Tom Sandler?" "Well, he's Ruth Lowe's son." He could have hit me with a barge pole. I didn't know she had kids or anything else. Anyway, long story short, I found out that Tommy is, by the way, he's called Tommy by his friends because his mom named him Tommy after Tommy Dorsey. How cool is that?
I know.
Pretty
Anyway,
cool.
Wait, I named my son Alex Trebek. Alex after Alex Trebek. Okay, go ahead.
I did my research. I found out that Tommy is the star photographer of Toronto, as you've already indicated. And he and I met, we hit it off. And I actually convinced Tom to come and sing his mother's song at this fundraiser. He got the only standing ovation. People were in tears. He did such a wonderful job. And later that evening, he came to me and said, "Peter, you're writing the book." I said, "What are you talking about? I've always wanted to have a book written about my mom. You're a fine writer. You love her music. You know the music from that era. You're writing the book." And it wasn't a will you, it's you doing it. And I have to tell you, Frankie, I was honored to be selected.
Oh, I'm sure you were. I'm sure you were.
Amazing Canadian heroine. And yeah, it was a real honor and a thrill to work with Tom, too.
So, Tommy,
Yes.
do you consider yourself a singer?
Well, I can, and I do sometimes. Music was, a huge part of my
sure.
life, obviously, One thing Peter forgot to tell you about that concert was what the clincher was. Not that it really had to be clinched, but what put the ribbon on the clinch was it happened to be on August the 12th, which was my mom's birthday.
Oh, okay.
So it was like,
yeah, the stars aligned and everything
okay,
just went,
you can't argue with the stars, you know. So, anyways, that was just a wonderful thing that happened. But I love to play music, and I do sing, and I've been told that I'm really good.
Oh, good.
But I've been doing, you know, most of my for the last number of years, I took up, you know, photography, because at that time, music wasn't really something I was really ready to get into, you know, so I sort of put it on the back burner. But, you know, it's like burning leaves in a big fire, you know, you pile them up and the flame goes away for a bit, then all of a sudden it comes back.
For sure, for sure.
So,
but Tommy, you had never sung your mom's song.
I had never sung my mom's song. I was never even asked by anyone to sing my mom's song. So I figured, okay, this guy is something special, you know. So and it was really quite a compliment, you know, to me, you know, that he would want me to do that. And
did you know he sang?
Oh, I knew he sang, but
Oh, okay.
I didn't know he sang that kind of music. But I thought, hey, if you can sing, you can
well,
sing.
no.
There was one standing ovation the entire evening, and it went to Tom Sandler.
Yeah, it was very, very moving, and it was hard to get through it without completely falling apart. But I had to be like a pro, you know, and that was just fantastic.
Do you have video from that night, Peter?
No, I wish I did.
No, wow.
No,
I was supposed to, and they didn't.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So let's go back history to your mom. And your mom had a sister, Muriel, who
yes.
Was nicknamed Mickey.
Mickey, yes.
And they came from, her parents came from Britain? By way of some other place, right? Like Poland or someplace like that. Like,
well, originally they were from Lithuania. And they sort of migrated through and then ended up in England, and I believe it was Manchester that my grandmother and my aunt were born there, and then they came to Canada.
What year did they come to Canada?
Oh, I don't know. I guess it would have been. Well, I really don't know. My mom was born in 1914. So
okay.
That'll give you some.
And your grandfather, Tommy, was from New York, right?
Yeah, my grandfather, my mom's dad, Sam, was originally from New York.
Okay.
And then came here.
Okay, so they came to Toronto. Is that where they landed?
I believe so. I don't think there's any other place.
Montreal. Sometimes they come in through Montreal. No. Okay.
No, I don't think so. Never heard that. So.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. And so your mom. I don't think your mom. Your grandfather was always struggling to make money.
Yes.
I understand.
Yes.
And your mother was an amazing pianist, and she would play at stores, I think, to try to get people to come in and buy pianos and music.
Well, she loved to play, and she was a natural talent, gifted musician, my mom. But she loved to improvise and loved to just do her own stuff. She's had a few years of classical training, and then I don't know when she started working actually well, I do sort of know because my grandfather, he passed away very young, and around 1935. And my mom was just in her late teenage years when that happened. And that's the first time I heard that she actually worked as a musician, making money at doing it, because she became the sole support of the family. When my grandfather passed away, it was my Aunt Mickey and my grandmother Pearl. And my mom, there was just no choice. It was during the Depression, and they were left with very little, if anything at all. So that was sort of pushed my mom into playing professionally and for a living.
Peter, did you say that they lived like around the Kensington Market area?
Yeah. And the fact is, Frankie, Pearl, she had some health issues herself. And so she tried to work, but she couldn't do a great job at it. So as Tommy says, yeah, his mom, Ruth, was really out there trying to bring in money for the family.
I mean, when you think of like stars aligning, how this young Canadian teenager, you know, ends up writing a song that goes in front of Frank Sinatra or Tommy Dorsey first, I think. And, you know, like, oh my God, like how the heck does that happen?
Well, you know, it actually went on the CBC before it ever went to Dorsey or to Sinatra. Basically, I'll make this quick, Frankie, but yeah, Ruth was working in Toronto. Ina Ray Hutton, who had an all-female band called.
I'm having a problem with your audio, Peter. Sorry, there's something wrong with your audio. There's feedback, or do you hear it when you talk, or no?
I don't know. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Anyway, Ina Ray Hutton and her band, the Melodiers. And by the way, the Billy Wilder movie, Some Like It Hot, was modeled after this band, which is good. Anyway, they're coming to Toronto. Her piano player takes sick. So Ina Ray calls up and says, I need to audition all the good-looking blonde piano players. By the way, if she can do some arrangements, that's a bonus. So Ruth shows up for the audition. She's never done any arranging, but she fakes it. She's a fabulous piano player. She's a great-looking gal, and she gets a nod for the gig that night. Well, Ina Ray Hutton is so impressed. She says, look, I want you to come on the road with us. And for the next 2 years, Ruth Lowe tours with Ina Ray Hutton throughout North America, sending money back to Pearl and to Mickey. And then in 1939, 38 actually, she falls in love with a very handsome song plugger by the name of Harold Cohen. They get married and they're going to have a family. It's going to be a wonderful existence. And in their first year of marriage, Harold goes into a hospital for a routine operation and contracts a kidney problem and dies. And Ruth is absolutely devastated. She's torn apart by grief. They were living in Chicago. She pulls herself together and moves back to Toronto, moves in with her mother and sister, and she's just overcome with grief. And Mickey, who sadly passed away in her 100th year.
Oh, did she?
Year, but just about a month ago.
Was it? Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did meet with
God
Mickey.
Bless her. Yeah. At Baycrest.
She told me that one afternoon, Ruth said to her, Mickey, you know, I'll just never smile again. And that night, the song just poured out of her, words and music. She was working at the CBC at that point, so it was Percy Faith. Faith heard the song, said, I love it. Can I put on my show Music by Faith? And he did up a wonderful orchestration with strings and horns and a singer. And so it was played on the CBC long before Tommy Dorsey or Frank Sinatra ever heard of it.
It's amazing for a song that's so depressing. 150 people have covered it, that you know, everybody loves it. And I guess, you know, it's easy. I find, you know, when you write poetry or whatever you write, it's kind of easier when you're in a dark mood than it is when you're happy for some odd reason.
Well,
but
you know, Frankie, if I may, I had that same issue. How did this song, which is almost dirge-like, it was on Billboard for 12 weeks, broke all kinds of records. How did that happen when all the competing songs, if you will, at the time, were by the big bands designed to get people out in the dance floor, Pennsylvania, 6-5,000, that sort of thing.
Because I'm just thinking, you know, that year, just to tie us back here, was the same year my dad started walking across Europe and Hitler's invading, right? Crazy.
Exactly. So anyway, I went to some very well-known songwriters to get their opinions. I thought the Bernie Taupins, Sir Elton John's lyricist.
Yeah.
Sir Tim Rice, who writes lyrics for Andrew Lloyd Webber. Alan Bergman, who writes all the songs for Barbra Streisand. Talked to James Kaplan, who's written the wonderful Sinatra biographies. And I asked all of these people, I questioned, how did this song become #1? And all of them, to the last man or woman, revered Ruth Lowe and said talent always shines through. It was a marvelous piece of music. It had marvelous lyrics. And whenever that happens, it will always get on top of everybody else. So it was a natural. As Sinatra says, and she wrote the foreword in our book, it was a perfect song interpreted by the perfect singer at the perfect time. And she's right.
Yeah. So it kicks off Frank Sinatra's career, makes him a superstar.
Didn't hurt.
Yeah. And so I'm curious about her, because a lot of people got lost at this. It was, the arrangement for the money. Like, did your mom get paid well for this song as people keep singing and singing and singing it? Was there any legal compensation?
Yes.
Good.
And it was quite it was
Lucrative.
quite healthy. I think that Tommy Dorsey, who was the original publisher, and that gang there, really appreciated what my mom did and who she was, and that she was kind of like on her own out there in the world, and they had some great respect for her as an artist and as a person, because she was a really a lovely person, really honest and generous person. And I just think that somehow, she was looked after, and it's amazing.
That is amazing.
Over the years, what that song, I can imagine, what the publishers it's generated for them, but it's quite, it's done very well for her.
It's quite amazing because, as a woman, they tend to get, walked over real fast, and as being a single woman, and wow.
Yeah, I think that, probably happened, but I think that what they realized and respected was my mom's talent and her chutzpah, for hanging in there, for being such a fighter, for defending, her family. So there was a lot of respect that was there, still is today with the Sinatra family. They've never forgotten the contribution my mom made to his career.
Wow.
What it did for him, and how much he loved that song and her other tune, Put Your Dreams Away for Another Day, which was his signature song that he asked my mom to write for him. It wasn't as though my mom went chasing him saying, I have another song, listen to it. He actually called her and said, Ruthie,
you get 24 hours to write a song.
I need a signature song for some. He didn't say tomorrow. He said, I just need a signature song, a theme song. Can you think you might have something? So she said, yeah, okay, I'll get back to you in a week or two. He said, well, we're going live tomorrow with the show on radio, and we need the song tomorrow.
Not only is it incredible that they pulled off this song, but that he could sing that song as a signature song at the end of a show. Like, wow.
It seemed as though that my mom and him were like on the same page, pardon the pun, and in simpatico. He had the depth and the compassion and the reach, and so did my mom, and I think they locked as sort of, I forget what word I'm trying to say.
I know.
They connected.
Yeah, they connected. Yeah. It's so interesting.
Frankie, I should point out.
Pardon?
Go ahead.
I was going to say you had two mega talents, that could understand one another and could talk to each other and speak to each other and sing to each other. And it's a whole different language, music. It is the universal language. But when you get musicians together, there's just I don't know what it is.
I think they were both in touch with their heart, and I think that makes a big difference, because
I think that's one thing.
Not there emotionally, it doesn't work.
I think that's one of the things that made that song so popular, was because it was very simple and it was very honest. And now you have so much nonsense in the world from marketing and politicians, and where's the truth anymore? When the truth shines, it really stands out, amongst all this swirl.
Unless you're Trump.
Oh, let's not go there.
No, let's not go there.
Frankie, I should also mention that Ruth, she wrote those two songs for Sinatra, but she was not a one or two hit wonder. I mean, Tommy, you know too well, she wrote about 50 songs for Broadway, Hollywood, and whatnot. She was very prolific.
Wow. That's amazing. And so she how long did she do the career after Mr. Cohen died?
Well, he passed away, it was in 39 or 38, and she remarried my dad, Nat Sandler, in 1945. So there was about 5 or 6 years while she was like just surfing on the success of that song. And she was like the hit of everything, and she kept everything. She kept all her memorabilia, recordings, manuscripts, I have 3 scrapbooks. She cut out every single thing that anyone ever wrote about her.
Wow.
Magazine. I have amazing columns by Walter Winchell and Dorothy Kilgallen and Ed Sullivan.
There's some old names.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but they were giants, you know.
Yeah, they were. They were.
They were really, they were giants.
Wow, that's incredible.
And
But
Swanky,
yeah.
I want to set Tommy up here because somebody asked him not so long ago, Sinatra was kind of known as a ladies' man. Do you think he ever hit on your mom? And Tommy said, go ahead, Tom, take it.
Well, my standard line for that as well, I do have blue eyes.
Yeah.
Love it.
Don't ever say that in front of your dad.
I'd have to be a lot older, I think. You know, at least 10 years older.
I think Frank hit on everybody. I've interviewed other people who with Frank connections, but yeah, your dad was not a creative. He wasn't in the arts.
No, but he had a passion. He was passionate for business, and he was very creative in business. He wasn't creative in music or like I said, in the arts or emotional things, but
yes.
He was very brilliant, and he didn't really play. He didn't really sing ever. Yeah, that's why I always thought, how in the world did they get together? You know, they were so different.
And how did you? I mean, your mom must have been very strong talent coming through the genes, because I mean, you're a photographer.
Yeah.
You're singing, you like music. Like, what did your dad think of that? Get a real job?
He was supportive. He didn't understand it, and he didn't really understand the potential of it. But he was smart enough to know that, like, okay, there's something going on here with these people that, you know, I just gonna leave it alone because I don't get it at all. He was a brilliant businessman, but when it came to music, he kind of wasn't quite there. He once said to me when the Beatles first came out that they'll never amount to anything.
Speaking of which, you said to your mom, didn't you say to your mom, like, I don't care about somebody's autograph, but if you see the Beatles or something,
Guess what happened? She actually saw the Beatles.
Amazing.
I got her envelope back. They were staying at the same hotel in Nassau when the Beatles were filming the movie Help. And an envelope comes in the mail, you know, a couple days later. I open it up, and there's a photo of the signed by the Beatles. She said on the back, it says, "I thought you'd like this." So I go,
what a great mom, eh?
First thing I did is call them and say, you have to fly me down there, you know.
Let me meet him.
Okay, good idea. My dad said, no. You know?
How old were you then?
Because they're not going to amount to anything.
Oh my gosh.
I think it was around 64, so I was probably.
Isn't that crazy?
You know, and
you weren't going to amount to anything.
Tommy, I know that's full measure. To give you that full measure, he did buy and operate Club 1 too, right?
Yes.
What was that? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Well, my dad started the first nightclub in Toronto.
Oh, he did?
It was called the Club 1-2.
Oh, okay.
And he was more like, you know, behind the scenes manager, owner kind of guy. And my mom, so this was after they were married, and my mom had all the showbiz connections. So my mom would book in the talent at the nightclub, and that's where Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet met at my dad's in Toronto. And
where was that club?
What's that?
Where was it located?
It was Adelaide, and was it Adelaide? Yeah, it was 12 Adelaide. So it was,
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
And Mike Filey, the well-known historian, he gave us for our book Until I Smile at You, he gave us a wonderful brochure from the Club 1-2, which you can see in the book. In fact,
amazing.
100 different photos in that book. So.
Yeah, there's lots of photos in the book. They were pretty cool. That's incredible. So like Count Basie and those guys play there?
I don't know. I was 3 or 4 years old.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
At the time, and but any major star
talent
that would come into town, they were connected to, and you know, I'm sure this was like. When I see pictures of it, it reminds me of Rick's Americana Cafe in Casablanca. This was a swanky place, tuxedos.
Yeah. You know, furs, jewels. Yeah,
big time. You know, gangster stuff.
Yeah.
Very romantic.
The Vegas of Toronto.
My mom liked these types of guys. You know, these tough guys that were real guys. You know, in those days. You know?
Yeah. I love it. I can see it. My mom used to dress like that. I can see it. Yeah.
It was a time of such style and
Yeah.
class, now things have let go and, more relaxed, which is good in a sense, but,
it was kind of fun to dress up like that.
Well, this life is, Mom's philosophy was to celebrate and to enjoy and to kind of put your best foot forward.
Yeah, yeah.
Ruth would say to Tommy one day when he was in school, "Hey, we're not going to school for a couple of days. Come on, we're going to New York," and just pull him out of school. They'd hide down to New York. They'd go and see Count Basie or Duke Ellington.
That's fun.
They'd have lunch at the Dempster's
Dempster's.
Tommy get a new guitar, and they'd come back.
Well, you wrote about the noshery, and that brought back so many memories because my folks used to take me to the noshery.
Oh God!
Yeah, I mean that was the place where Jews went, right?
Yeah, Thursday nights at the noshery. But that was a brilliant place, and
yeah.
But also in New York, we would go to the Brill Building, which was right beside Dempsey's, and my mom would go in and talk to the head of MCA Music, and everyone loved her. It was a social event and it was a business thing. It was a wonderful combination of so many
Are
things.
you an only child?
Sometimes I feel that way. No, I actually have a sibling, an older brother. Who's actually
take after your dad?
He's more like my dad and I'm like my mom, and it's like,
Yeah, I get that.
Interviewed Stephen for the book.
Yeah.
That's hilarious, actually. Oh my God.
Yeah. It was always a trip, being with her. I mean,
she was a Leo, wasn't she?
Yes, she was. That's right.
Yeah, I can see her.
Outgoing and confident, and you're right. But she was a very positive person and upbeat all the time, except when she sat down at the piano and played. And she played, the deepest, saddest, stuff.
Wow.
I don't know if that was because of the tragedy what happened, or she just had that deep vein in her, like a gold mine, But she loved upbeat music too, and she loved gospel music. And we actually wrote a song together around the same year, 1964, that the Travelers recorded.
Really? Wow.
Yep. It's called "Take Your Sins to the River." And it's a very upbeat gospel.
Is it on YouTube? I want to hear it.
I think you can find it actually. Yeah. So it's "Take Your Sins to the River."
Let me write that down. Take your sins to the river.
And tell Frankie about a couple of the people you met in the Brill Building while waiting for your mom to.
Well, that's a trip and a half. Well, I'm sitting outside the office. My mom went in to talk to the president of MCA, and I'm sitting out there, and a guy comes over and sits down beside me, and he looks pretty sort of disheveled. He didn't look like he was, too successful or anything like that. So, and I thought, okay, I'm a really big shot because I'm, I wrote a folk song and, I know 3 chords on my guitar.
You started Mariposa. Okay.
I'm the guy sitting in the Brill Building, So I started a conversation with him. I said, "Oh, and by the way, what did you write?" So it turns out to be Bobby Scott, who wrote "A Taste of Honey." Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I apologize.
Yeah, sorry. I meet a lot of people like that where all of a sudden they get smacked in the face by who they are.
Youth, the arrogance of youth. Yeah.
Well, we had, and also then we would go to Dempsey's and order cheesecakes and coffees. And one day I sat down with this other guy, a little old Jewish guy. He didn't think much of him. And that he turned out to be the guy who wrote Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Wow.
Johnny Green. One
of the richest guys in the world.
Well, he was. I hope so.
Yeah.
But he was a very good friend of my mom's.
Nice.
And, those old Tin Pan Alley guys, that really sat around and wrote lyrics and music on napkins,
Yeah.
Amazing.
So it was a rich experience for me. And
you know what?
Fun.
The apple falls close to the tree because we recount the story in the book where Ruth is invited to a huge conference of music writers and historians. She's seated at the head table beside the guy, and he says to her, "Now, what have you written?" And she proceeds to tell him not only what she's written, but how to write songs. And then the guy gets up and walks away and says, "Who was that guy?" "Oh, that was Oscar Hammerstein II."
Oh my God.
Telling Oscar how to write.
Oh my God. That's
Oh,
hilarious. Good for
I mean,
her.
I'm taking credit for my mom teaching Oscar Hammerstein how to write a.
There you go. I love it.
Yeah.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. That's amazing. So your mom, I mean, I couldn't help but notice, and I don't know if you wrote about it in the book, maybe I read the book, but she died young. She was only 67, right?
Well, she's 66 actually.
Oh, 66. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and she was not well. She had cancer.
I'm sorry. Very young. Yeah, too young.
Yeah, way too young.
Yeah, well, so was she. But she suffered with it for about 10 years. She fought it. And
Really? Wow, 10 years.
Finally, it just she succumbed to it, and it wasn't like it was it's not like it is these days where they have better drugs and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And, it was tough.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's still tough.
Her spirit lives on. And Frankie, I told Tommy this recently. I'm not an overly spiritual person myself, but there were times when I was sitting right here in this office writing the book, and I'd be kind of stuck for a word or a phrase or whatever. And I felt Ruth's presence in this room. I really did. And she'd sort of say to me, "Oh, hey, go ahead, or do this, or don't do that." I really felt her presence.
Is that Molly back there?
Pardon me? Oh, it's one of my pups. Yes. Which you have painted, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, babies.
But somebody asked me, was there anyone you wanted to interview for the book and tell us knowledge you but couldn't get to? I said, yeah, Ruth Lowe. I would love to have met her.
I believe that, so I totally believe that she was there over your shoulder. Like, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Well, look at, it's so true. And, look at the date that I met Peter and sang the song was on her birthday. The big show we did, or Peter did last night for TVO, The Agenda, and tomorrow will be Frank's birthday.
Yep.
There's just so many things that connect.
And that coincidence, well, not coincidence, I guess, but just the fact that her song was sung at both their funerals too. The last song that was played, that's amazing.
Yeah, at Frank's funeral. That's right. That's the song.
Crazy.
That the family wanted as the last song for his. Well, it made sense because he closed every show.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
With that song, and so this was like the final
act.
Show,
yeah.
And it's a beautiful song. It's actually was my favorite over the two songs because it was more of a hopeful song. Put your dreams away, and I will take their place in your heart. Wishing on a star. It's time to make a new start.
What's the favorite song that your mom wrote of all the songs that she wrote?
My favorite?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that would probably be it.
That would be it?
Okay. That would be, well, I wouldn't say there was maybe one. She's written another one called Dollhouse, which is absolutely incredible. She's got another one called Everyone But Me. They're all really up there and absolutely heart-wrenching, beautiful songs. And, there's a few of them, I would think, I think I'll Never Smile Again started down here. I shouldn't say, I don't really mean that, but that was the one that really broke through and obviously became the most famous one. But there's other tunes waiting to become famous as well. So
I'm
sure they will be after this.
I hope so.
Frankie, what's interesting is that Nancy Sinatra, who, as I mentioned, has written the foreword for us for I Smile at You, Nancy said, a songwriter would consider him or herself incredibly fortunate to write a song for Sinatra. Tommy's mom wrote two.
Yeah.
So,
and that shows the reverence he had for her.
That's great. And Sinatra once said about the song, with an arranger like Tommy Dorsey and a song like I'll Never Smile Again, a Minor Bird could have had a #1 hit song.
Yeah.
So that's what he thought of that song and that music. He just said without that, he was just like this, 110-pound skinny kid,
A minor bird could have had it. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah, I know.
Well, the book came out when, Peter?
About 2 weeks ago, Frank.
2 weeks ago.
And
Okay.
it is available at stores, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Indigo, Chapters, everywhere.
And you're doing this grand tour.
It's also available on our website, which is untilismileatyou.com.
Right. And we can go to peterjennings.me to find out more information about you.
Yep.
And
here is the book.
Oh, it looks fantastic. Yeah. Woo! There she is.
Double trouble.
There you go.
It looks great. Congratulations, you guys.
Thank you.
Really, really good.
Thank you.
And I mean, she's in the Canadian Hall of Fame, Songwriter Hall of Fame, correct?
Well, she's in the Songwriters Hall of Fame.
Songwriters Hall of Fame.
She was actually the inspiration for that organization, because I actually went to the Junos to try to lobby to get her a Juno Award, and then they realized, hey, there's a lot of Canadian songwriters that no one's ever heard of or honored. So they went and they started, rather than give her a Juno, which would have been a nice thing, they went and started a whole institution because of her called. And it was that's all right too, you know.
Yeah.
But so a lot of wonderful things and positive things have happened because of what she did, and a lot of other people are getting recognized. And Canada's being recognized, as it was when the song broke. You know, nobody heard of Toronto, or they thought we lived in igloo. So she created a lot of good karma out there, and a lot of good things to happen. But we're still struggling to get her properly recognized in this country, in her own country, and the Junos would be very appropriate. I think that they should have an award named after her, the Ruth Lowe Songwriter of the Year, which would be very appropriate. And also been, lobbying and trying to get them at the Canada's Walk of Fame to honor her.
Jeff Lathammer is listening to this. Jeff, Ruth on the Walk of Fame.
I don't know why it's coming to me. I keep hearing Voyager, Voyager. You need to get the Voyager guitar, Tom. Let it sit at your house for a little while.
Oh,
you know about the Voyager guitar, the Canadian.
Is that the Six-String Nation?
It's the guitar. It's been traveling around Canada.
That's the Six-String Nation. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've actually played that guitar.
Have you played that guitar? Awesome.
Yes, I have a shot of it. If you go on my Facebook or Twitter, actually it's a tight shot of me, but I'm actually holding the guitar when I was playing it. So yeah, that's a wonderful project.
Yeah. I don't know why. It just hit me I don't know why Tom has to have that.
I will follow through on that one.
Just came to me.
That's a great idea. Well, I still have I have my mom's piano.
Wow.
Baby grand, and I grew up with it. It was around since I was born, and it's just something to have, and very precious. You know,
I mean, the love is coming through big time. You can feel it, and that's just absolutely what a testament to your mom, truly.
And you know what? In the States, they revere her. She's won a Grammy. She's about to be inducted into the Musical Songbook Hall of Fame. I mean,
American Songbook.
Incredible south of the border.
Yeah. She's more known and there. Somebody said that once.
All musicians are more known there, unfortunately.
Yeah. Somebody said she was one of the architects of the American ballad, which is
that's quite a big statement.
But aside from all that, talents and accomplishments, stuff like that, she and the reason that I really liked her, she was really a fun person. It was like hanging out with your best friend. I mean, like a really good friend.
Can I ask you, what sign are you?
Me, I'm sort of on the cusp. I'm a Capricorn, near Aquarius. So I'm a January.
Oh, okay. Just curious about that one.
Next month. But yeah, she was just very very mischievous, like it's true with going to New York or somewhere, or going to a concert and meeting Duke Ellington. Yeah. She would always say, we're going to run away for a couple of days and have some fun, because she always thought that everybody, my dad was an L7, she called him, if you put your fingers together, you get a square. And he would always say, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. My mom would say, you know what, just
let them go. Yeah. It's crazy. My best friend was a Leo. I know what he was like.
Yeah, they're
They're
very
fun.
fun and confident, and
They're fun. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, so that was really why. I mean, I was really, you know, she really treated people well and treated me very nicely and kindly, and you know, with
Well,
no
it's great
string.
that you still have the relationships, you know, that she made, and you're still able to reach out to those people. And hopefully, you know, through this book, people in Canada will begin to recognize her talent, who she was, and her talent. You know, um, and she'll get the fame that she deserves.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be
Was there a
wonderful.
show? Did I see a show was built around her life? Did I read that? Was there a show?
Indiana wanted to make a movie based on her
But
life.
was there not a live theater production of her life? Didn't somebody?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Smile Theater had a
Oh, it
live
was small theater. Okay.
no, Smile Theater. Smile Theater. It
Oh,
was,
yeah.
I believe it was Diana Christie and Tom Nebone.
But maybe you need to go back to Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice and say, "Hey,
Yes.
let's do the Ruth Lowe
He's working
show."
on that at the moment, actually.
Pardon?
And Tommy has a fairly well-known film friend,
Okay.
so maybe that movie will come to bear yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be a fun show.
Yeah, it would be. It lends itself to a theatrical musical, you know.
Totally. Totally.
I know. But you know, it's great. It's an inspirational story. It's kind of a tragedy that turned it around to be very successful. I think there's a great message in there. She was a great role model for women, for girls. Especially.
I was just about to say that, you know, if you can't get the music route, get the female liberation route or something, you know, get one of Canada's top women, you know, independent and a groundbreaker, and like, wow. Yeah, absolutely.
And you know what, Frankie, right now with the world undergoing such stress and pressure, we feel that this book, Until I Swallowed You, has a real resilience to it. And I think it's a great book to pick people up, because Ruth did suffer great tragedy, but she rose from it.
Right.
And it's a resilient story. It's great.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a healing thing, you know, like, I mean, that's what happened to her by writing this music. And I think that's what can happen to people. Yeah. And I think you have to see that sometimes in front of you before you act, oh, okay, you know, there is a light at the end of this tunnel, and it's a big one.
Yeah. So, wow. God bless her.
Yeah, exactly.
Great book again, Peter. Another outstanding book by Peter Jennings. Number 6.
My pleasure. It really has been.
I thought you'd be like on cloud 9. I'm reading this book. I go, Peter's gonna love this.
Yeah.
Any
final words, gents? Anything else you want to say except get the book? Get the book.
Get the book. Until I Smile at You, right, Tommy? It's out there, and
yes.
I think people will really enjoy. We're getting some fabulous accolades from people saying how much they do.
It's a wonderful, you know, at the very least, it's a wonderful stocking stuffer, and I'm, you know, what could really bring this book over the top, if I were going to be presumptuous, as I want to be.
Yes.
If you did the audiobook, then you could have all the music in it, which would be phenomenal.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I get Tommy to do the audiobook.
Yeah, we were sort of talking about that maybe I should narrate the book.
Wouldn't that be amazing? And having the music in it, and you could really take it over the top.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And we're working on the children's book as well.
Yes.
A children's book?
Yes.
About Ruth?
A wonderful song.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, my 10-year-old great niece, Allie, did her school project on my mom. And she did a big Bristol board with all the photos and timelines. It was absolutely brilliant. And she didn't know, you know, enough about her, or, you know, a lot of the details about her. Yeah. And I'm finding that the next generation and these younger kids, this is a great role model and inspiration.
Yeah, for sure.
And you're right. It's very valuable. It's a very valuable story. And we've got to get as many people, you know, hear it and to experience it as I can. It's not just for my mom, or it is that, but it's also on a larger scale.
I find that today's generation, I don't know, they don't have that love of books that we had. I love to have that book in my hand, but they'll listen to audio. They listen to audiobooks as they drive. They listen to audiobooks everywhere, right?
Well,
and
they
I
don't
think
have
it would be.
time. Our times have changed now, and people don't have the time where there's nothing. Well, now because of COVID, actually, it's changing that.
Yeah.
Which
But
is
even
good.
me, I find like I read my books on the iPad because I can do it quicker. I get up at 3 a.m. It's dark. You just don't turn on the lights and just read, right? Just boom, you're done. It seems quicker for some reason holding a book. But I love the book. I mean, I want the book in my hand, and in my library. But
By the way, Tommy's great niece Sally, there is a photo of her holding her project, which she got an A for.
Yes.
On our website, untilismileatyou.com. You can see it there.
Yeah,
okay, definitely.
And,
so cute. Oh wow.
It's precious, and so my mom would have been her great grandmother. That's who she never knew, she never met, and just heard about, and. Now I think they're connected now. So she's been inspired. I mean, what else could you want?
It's a legacy. It's a legacy book. It's a legacy for the country. It's a legacy for musicians. It's a legacy for a lot of areas. So that's very good. Well done, boys. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to say goodbye to Facebook. We'll wave goodbye to those folks there. I'm going to stop the live stream.
So long.